Hello everyone, my name is Gigi Remedi Pro, and today we are going to be discussing traveling at the speed of light and how this is portrayed in the media today. Oftentimes, in science fiction movies and media, traveling at the speed of light is depicted as a speed of motion with no other context. In reality, this is a highly complex scientific concept that deserves a deeper explanation. With this being said, let's get into it. Light speed is approximately 299,792,458 meters per second. Traveling at this speed is impossible for any body with mass. Currently, a NASA spacecraft holds the record for the fastest speed traveled, which is 330,000 miles per hour, which is about 0.05% of the speed of light. The concept of relativity is a theory proposed by Albert Einstein stating that space and time are relative. This essentially means that something in motion is always relative to something else that is in motion. In Einstein's relativity equation, we can see that m, the mass of a body, is multiplied by c squared, where c represents the speed of light constant. So we can see that if the mass increases, then the energy E required to move that body would also increase. And this is something that we're going to touch more on in a bit. Plainly put, no bodily form with mass can travel at light speed. If a body were to move at this speed, its mass would become infinite, causing the energy required to move it to also be infinite. This relates back to the relativity equation that we saw before. Something that we will discuss a lot through moving forward is the concept of time dilation. This is the slowing down of a clock as determined by an observer who is in relative motion with respect to that clock. Now that we have some background knowledge of the speed of light, we can move into how this is portrayed in the media. A movie that inaccurately depicts traveling at the speed of light is Lilo and Stitch. In this movie, Stitch is a genetically mutated alien that was put into captivity. To escape, he steals a space cruiser and decides to make a jump through space in hopes of getting away with no end location in mind. Meanwhile, on that same day, Lilo is on Earth in Hawaii. So let's go ahead and watch a clip of that.
Activated. System charging.
Engaged as apes drive!
Warning, guidance is not functional.
Pursuit Commander, that crazy Trog is about to make a jump!
Break formation! Get clear of that ship!
Navigation failed. Do not engage hyper.
From this clip, there are a few things that are scientifically correct and others that aren't. Firstly, Stitch makes his jump through space and crashes on the island of Hawaii where it seems as though no time has passed. For Stitch, this is accurate since it would have felt instantaneous for him. However, on that specific day, Lilo would not have been there as it would have taken him thousands of years to make it from Earth to Earth from a different galaxy. This ties into how there is no representation of time dilation in this movie. Had Lilo been there, she would have already aged many years before Stitch even made it to Hawaii. Another aspect that is somewhat scientifically correct is the supersonic boom that follows his jump. Traveling at supersonic speeds, this being the speed of light, creates a shock wave, which is what the larger ship experiences in his wake. One of the biggest issues with this movie is that it presents that traveling at the speed of light is possible, which from what we have discussed previously, we know that it is not. Now, is this science, fiction, or simply sci-fi? The lines between science and fiction are very blurred in this movie. Traveling at the speed of light would not have been physically possible for Stitch, and if it were, there would have been many more components involved in doing so, as well as an immense amount of energy required to do so. Aspects of science are included in this movie, however, they are heavily simplified for the sake of a followable plot, as it is a children's movie. Now moving on to our next example. A movie that attempts to accurately depict space travel and traveling at the speed of light is Interstellar. Unlike other forms of media, this movie makes an effort to depict the law of time dilation. This essentially means that they show the time difference between Earth and space. Specifically, this is the fact that time moves slower in space as you travel at faster speeds, while time remains constant on Earth. Let's see how this was portrayed.
Look, I could swing around that neutron star.
No, it's not that. It's time. The gravity on that planet will slow our clock compared to Earth's drastically.
Oh, how bad?
Well, every hour we spend on that planet will be 7 years back on Earth. Well, that's relativity, folks.
As we saw, they gave an accurate depiction of time dilation by discussing the time ratio that they would experience in space versus on Earth. From their calculations, they came to the conclusion that 1 hour on Miller's planet equates to 7 years back on Earth, and this is mathematically correct based on the orbital radius of Miller's planet. In addition to this, whenever the astronauts return back home, they show how the main astronaut's daughter, who was very young when he left, has now aged to reach the same age as her father when he returns from space. Additionally, in this movie, they chose to depict them traveling at 99.8% of the speed of light rather than true light speed in order to be more scientifically accurate. Even with this being said, with the current technology, traveling at 99.8% of the speed of light is highly improbable, and we will get more into why that is in a bit. Now again, is this science, fiction, or sci-fi? In the world of movies, this is one of the most scientifically accurate space travel movies out there. Throughout the making of this movie, scientists were consulted to ensure that it was as accurate as possible. There was a point at which the director wanted to include a scene of the astronauts traveling at the speed of light, but he was advised against it for the sake of accuracy. Since traveling at the speed of light is truly impossible, they decided on 99.8% of the speed of light since this could potentially be possible. However, this would require an immense amount of energy that is not attainable at this point in time and incredibly difficult to achieve. Now moving on to the implications and what is at stake in presenting this concept inaccurately. Presenting that traveling at the speed of light is possible can cause the general public to underestimate the extreme complexity of space travel. It may plant seeds of doubt in people's mind of why we are not making these efforts to explore the unknown that is outer space. People may not understand why we are not making faster advancements in the process of space exploration. This also may cause people to not want to put in as much money to fund NASA if they feel that they are not doing everything that is possible to make these advancements in the ways that they see them portrayed in movies and TV shows. And finally, this can lead to a great misunderstanding regarding the physical laws of our world and how these concepts of time and space truly work. Here are the sources for the information that was used in this presentation, if at any point you would like to reference them. Thank you very much for your time and for watching and listening to this presentation.